On a busy day of NHL trades, no one's been busier than the Colorado Avalanche. We've got that and more coming up on Locked On's 2024 NHL Trade Deadline Special.
The Locked On Podcast Network presents the NHL Trade Deadline.
Gil Martin here from Locked On NHL. The Colorado Avalanche made a pair of major moves today. First, sending a first-round pick and Ryan Johansen to the Flyers for defenseman Sean Walker before flipping Bowen Byram to the Buffalo Sabres for forward Casey Mittlestadt. Chris Micieli of Locked On Avalanche joins the show to break down the moves from an Avs perspective. And Chris, let's start with this. Why was Walker worth a first-round pick for the Avs?
It sounds like Walker was worth a first rounder because they were taking Ryan Johansen as well. So is it a little bit of a stretch to give him a first? Yeah, and it's not till next year that first round pick. So Avs are still going to the Sphere for the first round in Vegas, which is cool. But I think it was one of those things where it's like, are we going to say no to this because of what's beyond this? And obviously that is the Byram deal. And that is really where I think the Avs were thinking to themselves, we don't want to hold this up. Sure. Do we want to give up a first round? No, not really. But of what we want to do under all of this umbrella of what our plan is, I think it was a necessary evil and a risk worth taking, if you ask me. So I think that's why they did that.
What happened with Byram? I mean, he was once very highly regarded. Why did the team run out of patience with him?
I don't think they did, Gil. I don't think this is a move because they were running out of patience with him. I think they were relatively happy with his development, and it was just a glaring need that they had at the 2C. That's been there now since Nazem Kadri left, and they have not been able to fill it. And again, it was one of those things where it's like, to get what we want at that position, which is an important position, you need to give up something that maybe you don't want to. And I think that's where they were with Byram. I don't think this was they disliked his play at all. He's young. He's 22 years old.
Yeah.
So he's still developing. And where he was at, I think they were happy with it, but they were not happy with what they were getting out of the 2C over the past couple of years. And they had to address it going into the playoffs. So it was a little bit of beautiful front office work by Chris McFarland to bring in Sean Walker first to kind of just take the sting a little bit out of losing Byram, and knowing that, they do have a wealth of defenders right now and prospects. The Avs pool for prospects is a little thin, but where it's not is on defense. Now, we don't know what those guys are going to pan out because obviously they're not at the NHL level yet. Some are still in college, some are playing overseas in Russia. So it's a still wait and see for those guys. But you bring in Sean Walker to kind of, okay, that's the trade-off between him and Byram. I think that's okay. It's okay to remove Byram, but put in Walker. Walker he's a good skater. He's a fast skater. He's great at moving the puck, where the Avalanche have struggled mightily this year in zone exits and just transition. So he helps there. And then so you get the defender because you're about to lose him. And then about a half hour later, they pull the trigger to bring in Casey Mittlestadt, who he's a young guy too. Is this a little bit of a risk? Yeah, he's been good the past couple of years, but he's playing in Buffalo, and I'm not slighting Buffalo at all, but he hasn't done a lot in the postseason. So that's a big if. But I think, again, this is a deal that the Avalanche felt like they needed to do because 2C to them was more important than having Bo Byram, who has at his young age playoff experience, but bringing in Sean Walker to a little, alleviate losing him. It just all made sense for a reason to do this. And I think they do. I think they will miss Bo Byram. But like I said, 2C it's just been a problem for way too long that they couldn't go any longer avoiding it, especially going into another postseason.
Where do you see Mittlestadt fitting in? Who do you think his line mates will be? And is he an upgrade over Johansen?
Yeah, he right now the way that Johansen just did not fit with the Avalanche. He was brought in to fix that problem. Here we go with the problems. Like he was brought in to fix it, and it just didn't work. Just the styles did not match up. So Mittlestadt, he's younger guy. He's not as fast as I would hope because the Avalanche love to play a fast game, but he's great at facilitating, and that's what they need for a 2C. He slots right into that. Who he plays with, Jared Bednar loves to shuffle lines. So it's going to be really interesting here pretty soon because Valnichuskin should be coming back on Friday. He's been out for over a month. He's been in the player safety program. He's been in practice. He's just waiting to get cleared from the league. So that should be Friday. Do they put him on a line with him? And he could have Arturi Lehkonen on one wing. He could have Valnichuskin on another wing. Yeah, that's a pretty good line. You can shuffle this up, and I'm sure Jared Bednar will kind of do that in the beginning to see what works and what is comfortable for him. But the opportunities are vast right now of who could be on the wings for Mittlestadt, and for being Avalanche fans, like it's all pretty exciting to finally to feel like you do. I don't want to say you do. You're to the point of like, oh, the problem's solved. The problem is on the path to being solved. And if Mittlestadt fits in like they hope he does, who he's playing with on the wings, that could be a dangerous top six for the Avs.
So are the Avs done after these two moves, or can we expect possibly something else between now and Friday afternoon?
Here's the brilliance of what the Avalanche are doing, Gil. And this goes back to last week. They traded Curtis McDermott, who they pulled in a late round. It was a 6th or 7th round pick. And they got rid of him, and they got a prospect from the Devils, and they shored up almost $1 million in that deal. So to a guy that's playing 4 minutes a night when he plays, you got a prospect and $1 million on your cap. All of these deals that the Avalanche made today shored up even more money in underneath their cap. They have almost now $5 million to play with. Are they done? You could say no. The other part that they've been trying to address or wanting to address is a backup goalie. However, Justus Annunen has been pretty good this past couple weeks. So is it as pressing as it was maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago? No, but Annunen is young. Do they want to rely on him in the playoffs? Maybe not. So if they do anything, I think it's backup goalie of all things. But other than that, they might just hang on to it because Mittlestadt is going to need to be signed. That's the other part of this deal is it makes sense for the Avalanche because they like doing that. They like bringing in guys. They don't like the rentals. And, if you're getting rid of Bowen Byram, you better give us someone that is going to have, that we can control for a little while. And Mittlestadt fits in that realm too. So maybe they hang on to it for next year and have a little bit more money to play with in signing guys. Where the Avalanche were a week ago till now, cap-wise, is 100 times better. So it's kind of exciting on what they could do if they want to keep moving and making deals. They can. They absolutely can. And they have to because everybody around the league in the West seems to be doing stuff right now. So they got to keep up with the Joneses. Yeah.
So true. Well, never a dull moment in Denver. For more on the Avalanche and their busy day, tune in to Locked On Avalanche for free on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.